Big Pharma wants you to take pills for fungus. This fighter chose a better way. Hey, man, I'm not rolling with.
Why, if Canadians are en masse changing their summer vacation plans to not come to the United States. It's an interesting moment. Why? They're so shaken by all the rhetoric and everything, but that hurts our tourist industry, which is a significant industry in this country. 6 Canadians were planning normally to come to that resort or to be part of the sunbirds that come to Florida in the winter, but they're not coming anymore. You know, and those people in Florida with their, you see, did you see what Mr. DeSantis did? He's the governor of Florida. He gave a speech 4 days ago in which he said, well, we got a problem here. We're deporting immigrants, but they're the ones who pick the fruits and vegetables upon which the Florida economy depends. But I have a solution. We're changing the law so children can go to work in the fields. That's the end of an empire. That's what happens. And no one said. Boo. 14-year-olds will now be eligible to work until I think 9 at night. I mean, all kinds of things that the law forbade for children before. We're going to have child labor, and it's going to be good because you see, you can pay the children as little as you got away with paying those immigrants. Jesus Christ. How many symptoms do you want to see before you go to the doctor? How many things are you going to face before you realize you got a different problem than the one you thought you had? And all of this, let me put it to you this way. If everything is going your way, you can afford to make mistakes, misjudgments, because everything is kind of going your way. So, yeah, you forgot to take care of that, but that's happening, and that's good, and that'll kind of compensate for the boo-boo you made, for the mistaken judgment. And the problem is, that's true. That is true. And the United States had that for the second half of the 20th century. But now the wind is going the other way. Everything's going down. There's no slack anymore. There's no space. Each mistake now worsens the other one. Tariffs is the number one weapon that he's deploying. Tariffs have been in existence for hundreds of years. The United States has used tariffs at various points in its history since it was independent and could do so. So right after the Revolutionary War, we had the power to do, and we have on occasion done tariffs. Okay, number one. Number two, some tariffs were worked out in deals with the rest of the world and have not occasioned a problem because we gave stuff that we could also benefit from. I'll give you an example. In the 1960s, there was a really serious struggle when the United States wanted to levy tariffs on foreign automobiles. Why? Because coming out of World War II, the rebuilding of the German and Japanese economies from World War II destruction led both countries to the same strategy. The best way we can recover from the war is to outdo the number one dominant economy in the world, the United States, and its number one industry at that time, automobiles. If we can't do that, they're going to dominate forever. That's our task, that's our goal, that's our measure of success. Can we produce a better car at a lower price? Enter Volkswagen. By the way, Hitler's project, Volkswagen. Volkswagen in German means the people's car. Toyota, you know them, you know the Japanese, we all know them now.
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Well, forget about AI, quantum computing, electric vehicles, cryptocurrencies, or robotics. A little-known technology is projected to become roughly 10 times bigger than all of these technologies combined. The World Economic Forum says that it's arguably the most exciting human discovery since fire. And billionaire entrepreneur Vinod Khosla, an early investor in Amazon, Google, and OpenAI, says you can make 1,000 times your money by investing in this phenomenon. But if you want to claim a stake in this revolution, you have to act fast. We're about to cross what Barron's calls an impending tipping.
They started to come in, and the auto companies went crazy. Detroit, which was our auto center at that time, was the dominant success story of American capitalism. When foreign dignitaries came to Washington, the president would fly with them to Detroit to have them look at a Dearborn or look at the Ford plant or the GM plant or the Chrysler plant. Look here look at this technology. Look at the workers, how satisfied they are. Look, we got a significant number of black workers here. See, we're overcoming our racial, it was half bullshit, but half, justified. And there was a horror. Our dominance would be undone because the VW was a better car at a cheaper price. And the Japanese came shortly thereafter. And so a deal was struck. We're going to put a tariff, but we won't put it on every car. And we'll put it low on regular cars. But you got to give us one thing. We're going to put a fat tariff. And in exchange, you can put a tariff on some of our agricultural products. Europeans were interested in preserving their agriculture, particularly their chicken production, and Americans are good at making chicken. The chicken is no good, but the cheap price is spectacular. Anyway, long story short, a tariff was attached to the pickup truck. A big one, 25%. Compared to all the other sedan, 2.5%. That tariff has been in effect for half a century. You know why Americans celebrate the pickup truck? Why every He-Man has a pickup truck? Because it's a symbol of masculinity? Not at all. You had to train the American buffoon to want that truck. You know why? Because the profit margin on the truck is way better than the profit margin on a car. And why? Because of the tariff. That's why you don't see very many foreign. The pickup truck that has the name Toyota, that was made here to escape the tariff. So there's nothing new about it. And therefore there's a literature, many more books than you have on your shelf here about tariffs. It's a segment of every course in international trade ever taught. And I've taught them. The library's full of enormous studies of every tariff there's ever been. Studies. Did it work? Did it fail? Why did it work? Why did it fail? And here's the conclusion. It'll save you a lot of time. I've done the literature. I've taught the course. We don't know is the answer. The effect of a tariff depends on the context within which it's said. It's a little bit like the phrase, oh shit. The impact of saying, oh shit, loudly in a group of people depends on that group, who they are, what they're used to. They'll either be horrified or they'll give it no notice, right? That's what a tariff is. So when the president says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to tariff, it's going to have this result, you're talking to a moron. Somebody who is talking right out of the other end because has no idea what he's talking about. What will be the effect of the tariff on Canada? I don't know. And I know he doesn't know, right? It could be, there's the Hail Mary. Could it get him the result he's hoping for? Yeah, when the quarterback heaves the Hail Mary pass, could it end up caught by his tight end? Possible. Mr. Trump's policy, if he's luckier than I don't know who, could work out. But as a policy, with his, bravado explaining it's so pathetically absurd. People like
All right, these are the only growth ETFs you guys need for long-term success in the stock market. Make sure
and you don't have to be a leftist to understand it. Any half-wit trained economist knows this is first-year economic class in college stuff, right? He either didn't have it or he's forgotten it. You can't do this. And so I'm here to tell you that the consequences of the tariff could be a serious boost to inflation here. Because remember, a tariff means stuff coming into the country costs more. A bag of coffee coming in from Latin America or from Mexico, for example, costs $100, let's say. He's going to put a 25% tariff. You're going to have to pay $100 to get the bag of coffee, plus $25 to Uncle Sam. That's the tariff. It's a tax. Mr. Trump often says that the tariff is paid by the other country. This is wrong. It's not paid by the other country. It's paid by Americans. Nobody else is billed. The United States can't bill another country for a tax. It's not the way the system works. Nigeria cannot bill us for taxes their legislature passes. It's not the way it works. Okay, so now the coffee will cost to the American buyer $125. Let's say the American buyer is a company called Starbucks. They now have to pay 25% more for their single most important input. You know what's going to happen to the price of your latte? The inflation is going to get major worse. Multiply it by not just coffee, but by all the other items. Our biggest trading partners are Mexico and Canada, the two countries hit with 25% tariff. Those are the biggest sources of imports into the United States. So you could have here a sudden shock. The avocado toast that the nice people like to eat, that's going to cost a fortune. The avocados all come from Mexico. In the morning, you have coffee, which I just told you will go up in price, and into it you put sugar, which is an imported product. Welcome to America of $20 for your morning coffee. You think the working class is angry now? Oh, wait. Mr. Trump won the election in part by the antipathy towards the Democrats held accountable for the inflation that we had during the Biden presidency. Mr. Trump really want to do that now, making himself to blame? Because everybody's going to say it's because of the tariffs, and it'll be largely true. And then we ask the question, what will the objects, the people hurt, and the Mexicans? Let me do Mexico because it's wonderful. It's so horrible, it's wonderful. We are deporting into Mexico more than any other country. Millions of undocumenteds that are being collected by ICE and sent over the border into Mexico. What's in Mexico for them? Nothing. There are no jobs in Mexico, not for millions of people suddenly arriving. This is a catastrophe, but we're just beginning. Those millions who were working here in the United States, the millions of Mexicans all around us, they were taking a portion of their weekly salary and sending it back to Mexico for their grandma and their grandpa and their children that they left behind. This was, and I know the numbers, 18% of the GDP, if I'm not mistaken. A huge cash inflow to the Mexican economy. Gone. You return the workers for whom there's no work, and you cut off the source of income, and now you're saying, but you can't export anything to America anymore because we got a tariff against you, and a lot of people aren't going to buy $125 bag of coffee because they'll turn to tea. What is Mexico going to do? Where is Mexico? And in Canada, it's different. Canada sells us lumber. We're going to put a 25%. You know what? Nobody can afford to build houses in America now. Add 25% to the cost of lumber, kiss it goodbye. And rents will go, what? Half of this country uses electricity from Canada, the Midwest, brings Canadian electricity because Canada has oil, gas, and can generate masses of it. What is Canada going to do with its lumber, with its Oh, I know. There is a place that will buy all the electricity and all the lumber. It's called the People's Republic of China. Having a real competitor for the first time means everybody has options they never had before. The real effect of Mr. Trump's policies and I haven't even gone through the impact on China or the impact on Europe, and he's throwing tariffs on them too. You could have a concatenation of events in which the unthought through strategy of Mr. Trump doesn't yet take into account that there's another competitor who can buy if you don't, who can sell if you don't. You're not what you were. In the latter half of the 20th century, it all made a kind of sense. The United States says jump, and everybody asks how high. But we're not there. It's over. The empire is on its way down. You can live with that. You can make that decline manageable. You can avoid a trauma, or you cannot. For every example of an empire that went down traumatically, I can give you one that didn't, and vice versa. That's a choice we have if we take it seriously, which our leaders do not. Remember, for at least a century, the Republican Party presents itself in this country as the party against.
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right